guys, it is time for my December wrap-up and January TBR. Are you excited? Cause I'm excited. Okay, let's go. First up, I read The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, which I did an entire review on, so you can click on the screen and it will take you to that. It is about a little boy whose family was murdered and ends up in a graveyard where a bunch of ghosts decide to take care of him and raise him as their own. And so the book follows his adventures as he grows up, and eventually he figures out the mystery behind his parents' death, and then that's a whole nother adventure he gets to go on. Lots of adventures. I gave The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman 3 out of 5 stars. Next up, I read The House at the End of Hope Street by Mina von Prague, which is another book I did an entire review on, so once again, click around here and it will take you to that. This book is about a magic house that houses creative women and allows them 99 days to work on their creative projects or get back on their feet, etc., etc. And it has a bunch of pictures all over the walls of women who have lived there before, including like Dorothy Parker and Florence Nightingale and lots of other people. And these pictures come alive and give the house guests advice on what to do, and it's just a really magical, cute book. I gave The House at the End of Hope Street by Mina von Prague 5 out of 5 stars. Next up, I read the Pacific Rim novelization by Alex Irvine. I'm going to have like a huge video up in the next few weeks of my thoughts on both the movie and the novel. I don't think the novel is better than the movie at all, but I do think it adds a lot to the movie watching experience. For example, you get to actually read about the drift memories instead of just seeing the like 2-second flashes, not even 2 seconds, like millisecond flashes of memory in the drift. You get to actually read about those, and that's really nice. It also went through a bunch of different point of views, so you got to see like what each character thinks about each other, so there's more like character depth there, and I just really enjoyed reading more about my favorite characters, so I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. Next up, I read Chicks Dig Time Lords by Lynn M. Thomas, and this is obviously a bunch of women writing essays about Doctor Who, and a lot of these essays were praising Doctor Who for being, you know, pro-female and feminist and etc. And I don't quite agree with that. There was one essay in particular that I remember reading and going, I want this tattooed on my body. I just want this whole essay. Everything in this essay is correct. They use the correct terms, and it was just everything I was thinking. But there was only one essay that I agreed 100% on. However, a lot of the other essays didn't even get into Doctor Who being feminist or not feminist. It was more of their experiences with Doctor Who, which I really liked reading about, because these are accomplished authors and how Doctor Who helped them get to where they are. And I just love reading about fandoms helping people succeed in life. It's really nice. So I gave Chicks Dig Time Lords by Lynn M. Thomas 4 out of 5 stars. And lastly, I read The Failure by James Greer. This was a very interesting book. I have never read anything like it. It is probably the strangest piece of literature I have ever read, and I have read a lot of fan fiction in my day, and this was weirder than any MPreg I have ever read. There's probably going to be a video in the coming weeks about this book if I can somehow figure out my thoughts on it. I did a lot of status updates on Goodreads, which I will link my Goodreads account down below, when I was reading this book. Okay, here's just a random chapter heading that I'm going to read to you. This is chapter 24. Billy explains to Guy, sitting in the bar, the absence of Gregory, who was supposed to meet them at the bar, which he manages, to discuss driving the getaway car 3 days before the Korean check cashing fiasco. That is just one heading on a chapter. And the chapters are only like 2 pages long. The plot of this book is very simple. It is that a guy named Guy is trying to get $50,000, which his brother won't loan him because his brother knows better, and he needs this money because he wants to get someone to make a computer program that he heard about called Pandemonium. I will advertise things to people on websites without them realizing that they're being advertised to. And basically everyone he's talked to said it's not gonna work, it's not a thing. But he just wants to get rich really quick. He decides that him and his best friend are going to rob a check cashing place. There's all sorts of flashbacks to, you know, when he met his girlfriend and, you know, a few days before this check cashing fiasco, and then a few days after. It's written in just the strangest way. There are no quotation marks, they're just dashes when people are talking, and that can be confusing because it'll be a dash, da-da-da-da-da, said guy, da-da-da-da-da, like there isn't another dialogue tag. It was such an experience reading because it frustrated me so much because the characters are horrible people. They're just the worst. Like, they do realize their mistakes, kind of, a little bit at the end. And I don't know if I like this book. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I finished this book at 12:08 a.m. on January 1st. So I'm counting it in December, but I'm counting it in 2014, if that makes any sense. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye!
Insert the sound of the entire country freezing over.